Managing a legal matter often means tracking information across several different places: client records, court events, tasks, communications, documents, discovery, and follow-up dates. The Attorney Matter Management and Docket Control Workbook brings those records together in one organized Excel system. In this video, we'll take a guided tour through the workbook and look at what each worksheet does, how the different sections connect, and how a solo attorney or small law firm might use the system in practice. The workbook shown here contains fictional demonstration records. No real client information is being displayed. It is also important to note that this workbook does not calculate legal deadlines. Dates must be determined and independently verified by the attorney or law firm. The workbook is designed to organize those dates, track their status, and help identify items that may require attention. Let's begin with the overall structure. The Welcome and Quick Start sheet provides a brief introduction to the workbook. It explains the recommended order for setting up the system and identifies the cells intended for user entry. Although the workbook contains formulas, drop-down lists, alerts, and dashboard panels, the daily workflow begins with a relatively simple process. Enter the matter record, then record related events and activity on the appropriate worksheets. This page is a useful reference when opening the workbook for the first time. The executive dashboard provides a high-level view of the information recorded throughout the workbook. Instead of reviewing every worksheet individually each time the file is opened, the dashboard brings important indicators into one place. Depending on the records entered, the dashboard can display information such as active matters, open tasks, approaching docket events, overdue items, unverified dates, dormant matters, and possible communication gaps. For example, if a docket event is approaching and has not been marked as independently verified, the dashboard can help bring that item to the user's attention. Similarly, if a matter has not had activity recorded for the number of days established in settings, it can be identified for review. These are organizational alerts. They do not replace professional judgment, the court docket, applicable rules, a calendaring system, or the firm's independent deadline verification procedures. The dashboard is most useful as a starting point. Open the workbook, review the items requiring attention, and then go to the underlying worksheet for the complete record. The client and matter directory is the central record for each legal matter. Each row represents one matter and begins with a matter ID and client ID. The directory can also record the client or organization name, contact information, practice area, matter name, matter description, open date, responsible attorney, status, stage, and priority. Additional fields are available for the opposing party, opposing counsel, court or jurisdiction, case number, next action, closing information, cloud folder link, and general notes. In this fictional example, the matter record identifies the client, the type of matter, the attorney responsible for it, its current stage, and the next action that should occur. The matter ID is especially important because it connects this record to the other worksheets. The client ID and matter ID are entered here as part of the original matter record. The client name is also entered in this directory. It is not populated merely by typing the client ID. Once a matter ID has been added to the directory, it becomes available for use in the workbook's related logs. Briefly point to the calculated columns near the right side. The columns toward the right side of the directory summarize activity recorded elsewhere in the workbook. They can show the last activity date, days since activity, last client communication date, possible dormancy or communication gap flags, open task count, and upcoming docket event count. This allows the directory to function as more than a contact list. It becomes an active matter management record. The Docket and Events Log is used to record court events, filing dates, hearings, conferences, internal reminders, and other date-related activity. Each event receives its own Docket Event ID. The user then selects the appropriate Matter ID. Click a Matter ID drop-down or select an existing Matter ID. Point to the populated description. After the Matter ID is selected, the related client and matter description populate automatically from the client and matter directory. This helps connect the event to the correct matter and reduces the need to retype the client and matter name on every row. The event record can include the event type, description, source of the date, due or event date, responsible person, priority, verification status, and event status. For example, a fictional filing deadline can be recorded with its due date, assigned attorney or staff member, and an indication of whether the date was independently verified. The workbook then calculates organizational indicators such as the number of days remaining and whether an active event appears due soon or overdue. Again, the workbook is not determining the legal deadline. It is tracking a date that the attorney or law firm has already determined and verified. That distinction is essential when using any legal docket control system. The Tasks and Follow-ups worksheet tracks the work required to move each matter forward. A task can be connected to a matter ID and assigned to a responsible person. The record can include the task category, description, assignment date, due date, status, priority, and completion information. For example, a matter might have separate tasks for drafting a response, reviewing discovery, contacting a client, preparing for a hearing, or following up on a requested document. The worksheet calculates whether an unfinished task is approaching its due date or has become overdue. Completed and canceled tasks are excluded from active task warnings. Task information also feeds the executive dashboard, the client and matter directory, and the selected matter summary. This makes it possible to see both the individual task record and its effect on the broader matter management picture. The Activity and Communication Log provides a chronological history of work and communications associated with each matter. It can be used to record telephone calls, emails, meetings, internal reviews, research, client communications, and other meaningful activity. Each record can identify the matter ID, activity date, activity type, communication method, direction, participants, responsible person, and a summary or follow-up note. For client communications, the record can also indicate whether the activity should count as client contact. This distinction allows the workbook to calculate the last client communication date and identify matters that may require follow-up. For example, an internal document review may count as matter activity, but it would not necessarily count as communication with the client. A telephone call or email to the client can be marked appropriately so that the communication monitoring features remain meaningful. Over time, this worksheet creates a useful chronological record of what occurred and when. The Documents and Filings Log is used to maintain an index of documents associated with each matter. A record can identify the matter ID, document type, document title or description, relevant dates, status, responsible person, storage location, and related notes. Examples might include pleadings, correspondence, court orders, contracts, client documents, exhibits, or internal memoranda. A cloud storage link or file location reference can be recorded when appropriate. The workbook itself is not intended to replace the firm's document storage system. Instead, this worksheet serves as an organized document index that connects each item to the correct matter. This can make it easier to confirm whether an important document was received, filed, finalized, or still requires attention. The Discovery Tracker provides a separate workspace for monitoring discovery activity. Discovery records can be connected to a matter ID and categorized by direction and type. For example, the firm may record interrogatories, requests for production, requests for admission, depositions, subpoenas, disclosures, or other discovery-related items. The worksheet can track service dates, response dates, extensions, responsible persons, status, and follow-up information. It also calculates timing indicators for active discovery records and can flag items that appear due soon or overdue based on the dates entered. Separating discovery from the general docket and task logs provides more room for the details involved in discovery management while still connecting the information to the same matter. The selected matter summary brings information for one matter into a consolidated view. The user begins by selecting a matter ID. Select a fictional matter ID and pause while the summary displays. The worksheet then retrieves the corresponding matter information and related records from across the workbook. Depending on the available data, the summary can display core matter details, upcoming docket events, open tasks, recent communications or activity, documents, and discovery items. This is one of the most useful features when preparing for a client call, reviewing the status of a matter, or deciding what requires attention next. Instead of filtering several worksheets separately, the user can select one matter ID and review a focused summary. The underlying logs remain the source records. The summary simply brings the relevant information together in a more convenient format. The Settings and Lists worksheet controls many of the workbook's drop-down menus and alert thresholds. The user can customize lists such as practice areas, matter statuses, matter stages, priorities, docket event types, task categories, staff names, document types, discovery statuses, and other recurring selections. The worksheet also contains settings that determine when the workbook identifies items as due soon, dormant, or potentially in need of client follow-up. Customizing these lists before regular use helps the workbook reflect the terminology and workflow of the individual attorney or firm. Some areas of this worksheet contain internal helper formulas used by the drop-downs and other workbook features. Those areas are labeled and should not be overwritten. The main value of the workbook comes from the way these worksheets work together. The client and matter directory establishes the matter record. The docket and events log tracks important dates and events. The tasks and follow-ups sheet records the work that must be completed. The activity and communication log creates a chronological history. The documents and filings log indexes important files. The discovery tracker provides detailed discovery control. The executive dashboard highlights items that may require attention, and the selected matter summary brings the information for one matter into a consolidated view. The result is a connected system rather than a collection of unrelated spreadsheets. The Attorney Matter Management and Docket Control Workbook is designed for attorneys and small law firms that want a structured, spreadsheet-based way to organize matters, deadlines, tasks, communications, documents, and discovery activity. It is available as an Excel workbook along with a worked example, a Start Here guide, a detailed user guide, and access to a blank Google Sheets version. As with any legal practice management tool, the workbook should be used alongside the firm's established procedures for docket review, deadline calculation, independent verification, data protection, document retention, and professional responsibility. A link to the workbook is available in the video description. Thank you for watching.